All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about how you can use long form content on YouTube to close deals in 2024 for your high ticket offer. So this works for coaches, consultants, agency owners, course creators, online service providers, etc. Anybody who sells something that's worth, thousands of dollars at least, right? And you can even do it for low ticket stuff, but it doesn't work as well. But this is how all the people that are on the internet that are absolutely crushing it are doing it. There's pretty much nobody that's doing something significantly different than this. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So first of all, there's three different types of content. The first one is going to be long form technical content. Then there's going to be long form breakdown content. And then there's going to be long form story content. And I'm going to go through each of these in detail, tell you about them, and I'm going to give you examples of each of these. So first of all, let's start with the long form technical content. So first, it tends to be more technical or tactical if you're thinking about this kind of like from a war point of view, because that's how we are as entrepreneurs. This is tactics, right? This is the nitty gritty, the little things that you can do here and there, the little things that are working right now, how to set up some kind of sales funnel, how to set up your email marketing software, this kind of thing. And this is the kind of thing that you would typically find in like a course or a mini course. And this is, giving value, quote unquote, even though, in my opinion, there's other types of content that are actually a lot more valuable because everybody knows that you don't actually get that much results through courses, typically. I'm sure there's a few exceptions out there, but most people who actually get people results are going to be like, coaching programs, service providers, masterminds, that kind of thing. Things where you're actually working with the person. If you're just consuming content in your mom's basement on your computer, chances are you're not going to be taking action on it, and chances are you're not going to get good at it. Because if you think about anything that you've ever gotten good at in your lifetime, maybe you got good at a sport, or you got good at playing chess, or maybe you got good at an instrument, you got good at that thing very likely because you were doing it with other people, right? Maybe you were playing chess with your siblings or your dad. Maybe you were playing sports with a bunch of other people. Maybe you were getting taught how to do an instrument from your parents, your brother, your sister, a teacher at school. And then not only were you being taught things, but you were also doing it with other people as well. So that's why this typically is going to work best with a high ticket offer. And you shouldn't really feel all that scared about giving away the sauce in your free content. I give away just about everything in my free content. Does that mean that people are going to be able to get results just from the free content alone? Yeah, some people do, and that's great. But a lot of people are going to need that extra helping hand, a little bit more guidance, feedback, a little bit of accountability. Also having a bunch of other people around you that are also crushing it helps tremendously. So don't be afraid to give away the sauce, give away like free courses. And you've probably seen this on YouTube. There's a bunch of people now that are basically doing like ridiculous courses. Some of these courses are like 5 hours long, 3 hours long, 10, 20 hours long. And I'm going to go over one of those here in a bit. But basically what you want to do with this type of content is you really just want to step by step show people exactly how to do something. Okay. So this is almost like a mini course, and some people actually put their courses online completely for free. And this type of content is very logical. It's very step by step. It's very practical. But in my opinion, it's actually not the most valuable type of content that you can make. Because a lot of the time, what you're going to do is you're going to attract freebie seekers. And these types of people almost never get results. People who try to do everything on their own, and they have this mindset of scarcity. They don't have an abundance mentality. And so they just want everything for free, and they don't value their own time. That's the big reason why they're not going to be successful, is because they don't value their own time, because it's going to take them years and years to figure it out on their own without someone else's help. And you do tend to attract these types of people if you put out insanely valuable technical course type content on the internet. But with that being said, there's still a lot of value here. And most people are not freebie seekers, and they are going to actually appreciate when you're putting out this type of content. So another thing about this is sometimes people watch your content purely to see how to do, XYZ, and then they never come back to your channel again. So it's extremely transactional. So, it's like, oh, how to set up active campaign, or how to set up a funnel, click funnels, that kind of thing. It's extremely transactional. They're going to watch it one time, then they're never going to come back to your account again. And that's really unfortunate. And you can see, even if you go in analytics, I could even go in my analytics. Whenever I've done these tutorial style videos, especially the ones that are really tutorial style videos, people will watch it and then they just never come back to the channel. They don't subscribe, they don't come back. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes this can be relatively vapid content where you're teaching tips and tricks that people will never take action on and won't be valuable 6 months from now. Because a lot of the time, these tutorials, you do them 3 months, 6 months later, whatever website changes, whatever software changes, something in the funnel changes if you're showing people how to do a funnel, or something in your sales process changes. And then guess what? The tutorial is borderline useless, right? So it can be very vapid content. But with that being said, it still can be valuable to the right type of person. And it can also be difficult and time consuming to research and make if you aren't an expert. There are certain ways of doing it, which I'll talk about in this video. I'll go over some good examples where you can do it without taking that much time. And these tend to be more fact-based rather than opinion-based. And they also tend to rank well in search. Now, the truth is, I'm not telling you to choose between these 3 different types of content. I want you to do all 3. Okay. Now, there's probably one that you're going to do more of, but I actually do want you to do all 3 of these types of content, because you really want to just give them the full spectrum and hit every different personality type. Some people really react to super step-by-step, detailed, logical type content, and that's what's going to get them to, say that, wow, that was really valuable. And some people want other types of content. Okay. So, this one does tend to rank well in search. That's kind of notable. That's something that's very important to note. That is basically long form technical content a little bit. So this one is more tactical. If you're playing chess, for instance, this would be like teaching you the tactics, like how to calculate things, how to do exchanges and stuff like that. Whereas this down here, long form breakdown content, is more strategic. And to be honest with you, this is probably the most valuable type of content. Now I'm going to go through after I go over these and give you different examples of each one. But long form breakdown content is much more about strategy. For instance, this one right here, Charlie Morgan, he goes over mindset stuff, how to focus. And to a total beginner, they're probably like, wow, I don't want to know how to focus. Why does that matter? I just want to make some money. And those are the types of people that don't get results, of course. Now, people that have failed a few times, people that maybe bought some courses and they haven't gotten results yet, that's when this kind of thing starts becoming important to them, because they realize how incredibly important it is. Because you don't have business problems, you have life problems that reflect in your business, right? And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So let's talk about this kind of thing. These tend to be much more fundamental. You're teaching fundamental things that are going to help no matter what, AI, chat GPT, chat bots, what tips and tricks, like no matter what weird little tips and tricks stuff, or new marketing meta, or any weird little strategy for getting clients, no matter what happens, like this is the type of stuff where it just works. It works now. It worked 1,000 years ago. It's going to work 1,000 years in the future. It worked 5 years ago. It's going to work 5 years in the future. For the most part, it's just fundamental truths. And this is honestly the most valuable stuff, because yes, there's a few things that change here and there over time. There's new opportunities. For instance, YouTube is a great opportunity for marketing, but the same marketing principles essentially apply to YouTube as they applied to blogs back in the day. And then, like direct to consumer advertising, and, mail order advertising, just everything, right? It's all basically the same stuff, but it just changes a little bit over time. And if you know the fundamental marketing strategies, you're going to know how it changes and how you can take advantage of it. So this is strategies, right? This is strategic. And in my opinion, this is the most valuable content, especially if it's coming from an expert. It's just, this is the stuff that really, really makes the difference. So it tends to be more of a big picture overview, because everybody's situation is a little bit different. And if you try to give them specific advice over a video where you're not actually talking to them and asking them questions, it's just not going to work. So what's better is to give them a big picture overview of stuff that generally speaking works. And then there's going to be a few little changes here and there for their situation. This is much less technical. It's more emotional and motivating in some ways, because it talks about things like, mindset, focus, how I would make $10,000 a month if I had to start over again, stuff like this. And it is more opinion-based than fact-based. And you might be thinking, well, I don't want opinion-based content. I want fact-based content. Well, sorry, newsflash for you. Many different things, including marketing, including online business, change over time. And so there is no objective truth with this kind of thing, except for the fundamental stuff, right? But there is things that work. Someone goes out there. For instance, I went out there. I spent 20,000 hours perfecting YouTube, and now I have opinions on how YouTube works. And my opinions are definitely, helping my clients crush it. Right? They help me crush it. They help my clients crush it. So my opinions, because of the fact that I'm an expert, are much better than other people's opinions. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be right 10 years from now. 10 years from now, maybe something changes. The meta changes, right? And what I'm doing doesn't work anymore. And then I will adjust, right? So it also makes a huge impression on people. This is the type of content where if they watch it, they are not just going to forget you right off the bat. You just created some serious emotional real estate in their head, right? You just purchased emotional real estate in their head. They are going to remember you, and it's going to be much more likely that they come back, much more likely that they subscribe, much more likely that they watch your videos until the end, much more likely that they end up buying your stuff. And yeah, it just keeps them coming back again and again. And this type of content tends to rank better in suggested and browse. But the way I teach it, I try to make content that is going to rank in search almost no matter what. Other people don't do it quite the same way. This is one of the reasons why I think I get better results than most people. I make almost everything rank in search. And if it does rank in suggested and browse, that's great. But I find ways to get things to rank in search as well, pretty much no matter what. So really love this type of content. Honestly, this is kind of like the bread and butter of channels that I recommend. It's more opinion based, right? And if you're an expert, if you position yourself an expert, and I've talked about this in other videos, then you should be able to talk about a lot of this stuff off the top of your head. Okay. Now, if you aren't an expert in anything, which by the way, like 95% of people watching this are an expert in something compared to the general population. But let's just say you aren't an expert in anything. What you can do is position yourself as a learner and still just talk about what you're learning off the top of your head. So this does not have to be heavily scripted. And that's what is so amazing about this type of content. And by the way, what I'm doing right now is long form breakdown content. Okay. That's what makes this type of content so amazing. This type of content right here, a lot of the time it does kind of have to be scripted out. You really have to plan it out. Now there are ways of making that a lot easier to do, but it does definitely have to be scripted out and it takes a while to make. Whereas this type of content, throw some pictures up, have some bullet points and just talk off the top of your head. Sometimes you don't even have to have bullet points. Sometimes you can literally just talk off the top of your head. Now, the third type of content, this is the rarest type, but it's something that you shouldn't ignore. You should absolutely do this type of content as well. And this is long form story content. So this gives them a picture of you and it teaches a lesson through a story or experience. And this tends to be more motivational / sharing your journey type of content. People really get to know you with this type of content and they really care about you, honestly, as weird as that sounds. They care about a random stranger on the internet. Now, you can weave story content into your other type of content as well. And I highly recommend you do that. You should be telling stories in almost every single type of content that you do. But this is dedicated story content where the entire video is essentially your story. Now, this stuff sells like crazy. Okay, this type of content sells like crazy, but it does tend to not get as many views. And so what you want to do is make some of these, put them on your homepage, put them on playlists on your main homepage, link this type of content in your other videos, right? Link your other videos directing people to watch, this type of content, because it's going to make a huge impression on people. They're going to feel like they really get to know you. And, I think most people watching this probably understand the power of stories, but telling stories is so unbelievably powerful. It's basically the human mind thinks in stories. And that's why when you're trying to remember something, they tell you to do, metaphor. They tell you to make up mnemonics, right? Mnemonic is basically just a story that helps you remember. And so uh, typically, like I said, they don't get a ton of views. And so you want to put this on your homepage. You want to funnel people to these types of videos as much as possible. And these really sell well, but you can't spam them on your channel, right? You can do as many of these types, long form technical content and long form breakdown content. You can do as many of those as you want. But this one, you can't really spam it, because you can't just like talk about stories all the time, right? You can weave stories into every piece of your content, but not every piece of your content can be just a full story slash kind of like day in the life slash sharing a journey type video. So let's talk about a few of these. Well, first of all, with the long form story content, college dropout to 7-figure agency owner, and raw reality of making 500K per month. Those are two really good examples. So let's go back up to the top and let's talk about a few of these. So long form technical content. This one here is Robbie Abavala. He does a lot of this type of content. He's really good. He makes about $1 million a month, and about 500 to 600K of that comes from YouTube, directly from his YouTube channel, which only has 78K subscribers. So he does a ton of stuff like this. So this is one of his videos, my $25 million plus sales process for coaches and agencies. And, as you can see, not too much editing. There's a little bit of editing here and there, but not too much, just kind of like words popping up on the screen and that kind of thing. Probably didn't take the editor that long to edit this, maybe like a day, and they don't have to be insanely skilled or anything like that. Then you see down here, he's got a free $20,000 plus gift. This is a lead magnet. This is designed to get people on his email list, of course. How to generate 20 sales calls per day using a self-sustaining funnel. This is a directing people to a particular video that is essentially just like a VSL that he placed on YouTube. So he basically just made a VSL, made it incredibly good, scripted it all out, and then placed it on YouTube. This one right here, license our 20 plus sales call per day marketing system and let us install it in your business. This is an application to book a call. This one here, schedule a VIP day with Robbie Abavella. I believe that's application for the mastermind. And then join 120,000 plus learning how to systemize and scale their business by subscribing to the free Scaling Scoop. So this is his newsletter / email list. And he, has people directly to subscribe to that. So 120,000 people, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, this is his content. Of course, I'm not going to, play it or anything like that. You can definitely check it out if you'd like, but that is an example of long form technical content. Second one here is also long form technical content. So this is Serge Guattari. He does a lot of this type of thing. So it's this one right here, full growth creator model course, 600K per month operations. So he's talking about like operations in this particular one, but he did an entire series. This is part 4, and it's still got a good amount of views, about 6,000 views. And these are highly, highly targeted views. These aren't just random people watching this. These are people that are very likely to actually buy his stuff. And so you can see he kind of just starts it off with his phone, and then he goes to a live stream that he did. So this is just a video, I believe, of a live stream that he did. And he's just kind of like sharing his screen. He's just going through a Google Doc, probably some training that he already had access to. And yeah, that is all he's doing, it's just very simple, just going through a doc like this. And look at it. It's just very, very simple stuff. He's just going through, talking about his Discord, talking about, other things, probably something that he already made or very similar to something that he already made in his course. He's got some diagrams there. He's got like a flow chart here with a graph. And there you go. So that would be an example of long form technical breakdown content. So You can see that he just has one call to action here, which is join the community. But he very likely did a call to action in the video telling people to do that. And so this is to book a call. And then he has another one. Very common strategy I see is people just doing one link in their description. I did it for a while as well, and I did see some pretty good success for it. I think you should probably mix it up, to be honest with you, but having one link in the description is a pretty good strategy. All right, and then this is an example of a like 15-hour course. So this is from Max Pertzen. So yeah, this is like a 15-hour course that he just made for people, which is pretty nuts. People are doing this. I mean, this probably took him like a month to make or something. This is pretty crazy, but these do get a ton of views. There's actually better examples than this one. There's a lot of them that get way more views than this. This one's only a few months old. There's many out there that have gotten like 1 million views and stuff like that. And yeah, I have mixed feelings about this type of thing, but I do think that people just realize that our courses are less and less valuable. So they're less likely to spend money on it. And they're realizing that coaching or services or that kind of thing, generally speaking, of course there are exceptions, but generally speaking, they're more valuable. And so this is the type of content you see a lot of people making now, where they're just basically putting their entire course up on the internet for free, which is pretty interesting. So, and the funny thing is a lot of the time, the course they put on YouTube is actually better in some cases than the courses they put in their actual paid program, which is pretty hilarious. But yeah, I mean, you're going to attract people that are money poor and time rich with this type of thing. But you're also going to attract some people that are time rich and they just want you to help them out and they just want to see that you have the good stuff. So those are 3 examples of, I think I got another one. Yeah, free SMA course. So yeah, there's Joel Kaplan did one. Let's see, like 105K views. You see a lot of people doing this stuff. And, around the community, you've got a lot of people that have different opinions on this, just giving entire courses away on your channel. I feel like it's going to work really well for a little while, and then it's going to stop working. Because the truth is, like, a lot of people don't get results from just watching YouTube. Like, they need more help than that. So it is something that's working pretty well right now. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it until you've already have like a really good base of content. But yeah, these are long form technical content breakdowns. Let's move on to long form breakdown content. So how I would make 10K a month if I had to start over again. That's the first one here. And the second one is how to focus for 12 hours a day like a millionaire. So this is a little bit more high level, right? So he's not going to go into like, I would go into my email marketing system and I would use ActiveCampaign and I would set it up like this. And here's the exact email sequence that I would send and blah, 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 blah. Because the truth is that worked for him, but it isn't necessarily going to work for you because you have a different niche and, there's all kinds of other stuff going on. And so what he does is he just gives kind of a high level overview. And, he talks about identifying profitable opportunities and then leveraging your personal network and then scaling your business and client acquisition and then enhancing client retention and business growth, et cetera, et cetera. So this is something where he just goes over on a high level exactly what you should do. Same thing with Charlie here, how to focus 12 hours a day like a millionaire. Charlie has I'm pretty sure he records his videos with a phone. It might be an old phone at that, because these are pretty terrible. And it's kind of hilarious how much he's crushing it. This guy's making 1.3 million a month. And he's absolutely crushing it with these super simple videos. And this just goes to show, guys, you do not need a fancy setup. I mean, look at this. I'm recording it with my Loom. You absolutely do not need a fancy setup. Does a fancy setup help a little bit? Yeah, sure. Maybe it helps a little bit, but you absolutely do not need it. And there's tons of people out there that are crushing it without fancy setups. And he basically, I don't think he has a single edit in this entire video. All right. He has a whiteboard there. He just talks about stuff on the whiteboard. That's it. He just talks for a long time. And then once in a while, he writes stuff on the whiteboard. And that's about it. So super simple stuff. And yeah, he just goes over the high level important stuff on how to focus for 12 plus hours a day like a millionaire. And this is the stuff that actually makes a difference, guys. Like everybody's attracted to the new shiny object, the newest AI chatbot or whatever, AI this, AI that, chat GPT lead generation. But the truth is, like, this is the stuff that actually works. Like, and even if the chat GPT lead gen stuff does work, it's only going to work for a few months until it's saturated. But talking about this high level stuff, the fundamentals, the strategies of what works, understanding mindset, understanding, that you have to fail a bunch of times before you succeed. This is the stuff that actually makes a huge difference. Sometimes like stuff like diet, for instance. And yeah, so that is the long form breakdown content, really valuable stuff. Honestly, this is probably my favorite content to consume and also my favorite content to make. And then there's long form story content. And honestly, this is pretty fun too. Gotta love long form story content. But, college dropout to 7-figure agency owner, and then raw reality of making $500K per month. So this is Charlie again, doing the college dropout to 7-figure agency owner, telling his story. Took him about an hour to do it. And he just goes over, probably like old pictures and stuff like that. He draws on his little whiteboard here a little bit, and basically just tells people, how he went from a college dropout to a billionaire and, several years. So really valuable stuff. Honestly, you probably shouldn't be consuming story-based content all the time. But if you ever need some motivation, if you ever need to just relate to somebody, this is great content to consume. I love watching these once in a while, like not all the time, but love watching these once in a while. They can be incredibly motivating, and they can they convert like absolutely crazy. Story-based content crushes it when it comes to conversions. And he got 48K views from this, and I bet you he made probably like $500,000. I bet you he made like $500,000 from this video. So here's another one, raw reality of making $500K per month. This isn't necessarily like a pure story. It's mostly just him talking about what he does on a day-to-day basis and what his life is like. So it's kind of just like more of a, sharing your journey type of content. So I put these two in the same kind of category. And the truth is, like, most people don't necessarily want to hear all the time about what your past and your life and like the lifestyle you live and that kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it is valuable. It can be really cool, but you probably don't want to do this type of content all the time, right? But it can be incredibly good. And this guy got 345K views, which I'm sure he made like $1 million from this. He probably made $1 million at least from this one video alone. So yeah, this can be really good to do once in a while. You can also funnel a bunch of views to this type of thing. You can also funnel views to like a VSL, like Ravi Abuvala does. And yeah, these are basically the three kind of bread and butter types of content that you can make. One thing I will tell you guys is all of these different types of content are essentially listicles. Now, you might be thinking, Shane, what are you talking about, a listicle? A listicle would be like the 7 best marketing strategies. None of these are like that. Well, if you position your content like a listicle, then yeah, 7 best marketing strategies would be an example. But you don't necessarily have to position your content like that in order to make it a listicle. Every single one of these videos is essentially a listicle. Why? Well, because every single piece of content that's ever been made is basically a listicle. Books, they're just a list. They're a list of chapters, and each chapter has certain sublists that it goes through. Courses, they're a list of different modules that you go through in order to complete something. Any type of content online, even news, it's a list of events that happened. A newsletter, it's a list of different things that they think is really important for you. And it's really important to have this mindset when you're creating content, because if you try to be a perfectionist instead of just making things into lists, it's just going to take you forever to make the content. What you should do is make it into a list and then just go over the most important points, right? Don't be a perfectionist. Just go over the most important points. So yeah, this is the type of long form content to close deals in 2023 through your offer on YouTube. Definitely check the description and the link down there. I've got like a free resource that's going to help you just absolutely crush it on YouTube. So definitely check that out. It's completely free. Check it out down in the description. You can also book a call with me down there, and I will see you guys next time.